4, 2.
Entities turn to ban. RNGs turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. RNG's turn to pick.
And they can just kind of force these fights out early. Take some really fast objectives once they have the summons ready, once they've got that the Dominator ready, and just kind of get the familiars going. Like, it doesn't take that long for these objectives to melt once Entity does start to go. And RNG, they've got to be a little bit cautious. They do have that early timing lined up as well. I love the point the panel made about the Lich Frost Armor kind of slowing down some of that physical output that these minions will do to you. So you do have some save on hand, but you're going to be buying some space out for the Terrorblade. It can be a little bit hit or miss depending on how well you use your Metamorphosis, if you get caught off guard, how well your lane goes. And again, laning's going to be a really big part of this one for both teams.
Absolutely. We'll see how it does go down. Of course, both teams going to hang around the mid lane for now. Just chilling out. Again, Ward's not going down. Wolves will scout out just a little bit from the side of Entity. Who they can spot out as they will see Chalice. And Lord, though, he has that Atrophy Aura. Not really kind of target you want to try and make the jump on. Bottom side. Now going to see Toby. That Brewmaster, but Toby going to be just fine. In fact, Stormstormer and Kataomi are going to bully away the side of RNG in this bottom side. Be able to get away with 2 boundaries of their own. In fact, make that 3 for the side of Entity. So RNG only able to pick up 1 on Ghost.
A little bit of a stronger start out for Entity. You're going to have that added gold down mid, of course, where you do want to get as much as possible out from Stormstormer. As Sheepo called, I think Stormstormer again on that Visage, he's just going to be looking to play pretty fast. He's got a lot of varied buildups to go for. Somnus can still kind of hold this lane. It's not the worst matchup in the world. You are going to be annoyed heavily by the Grave Chill, but the wave clear is there for Somnus, and just kind of poke and prod, especially while you don't have Grave Keepers up. You should trade fairly fine here.
Absolutely. End up going here for Somnus. Stormstormer should be just fine as well on this Visage. As we look up maybe the bot lane here, Jonathan, you've got Toby and Kataomi against Ghost and X-Nova. Seems like a bit of an annoying lane here for Toby and Kataomi. I mean, against the Lich, it's just never really fun just copying that much the Frost Blast over and over again. Ghost should have a decent enough lane, I believe. I mean, you can get aggressive with Toby with the Tiny, but you might need a few levels before you do get going.
It's going to take a little bit more to get that magic damage going there with the combination on your Tiny, of course. So you're going to just need to soak up, hold that lane. Not something the Brewmaster loves to do, sharing a lane, sharing EXP. Because you do want to rush into that level 6. You want to rush into maybe a value point in your Cinderbrew, start to burn away at Ghost. Well, that's up, and it's going to be harder for him to trade.
It will. How's that final lane going? Top lane, Pure and Fishman against Chalice and Kaka. Probably the slowest lane on the map right now. Like, you've got an Underlord. In fact, I say that, but they are going to land a very nice Fisher here onto Pure. Body blocks out as well. Chalice able to find a perfect block, and actually apologies to the side of Entity for the caster curse there, John. I did say it was the most boring lane. Apparently not.
Yeah, this can get pretty action-packed. A nice simple block. You've got good damage coming out. You're very durable in the front, but a lot of these heroes coming out from RNG in the top lane. And there's really not too much Fishman can do to aggress back, right? It's not the most aggressive thing in the world. The Lycan plus Ancient Apparition lane, something Chalice can really just stand back, keep spamming out the Firestorms and not really care, not really be punished for. You could leave this guy solo in lane. Kaka is just getting a pull off, getting his own EXP going, so you're ticking all the boxes in this lane for RNG, and you're just managing to get that build-up you want.
Yeah. Mid lane, a very slow affair here between Somnus and Stormstormer. Runes are going to spawn up. Looks like both of them should be able to find one for themselves. As Stormstormer puts the hand up, get a high five for himself. So we'll take the other water in on the top side. Bottom lane, like going back to this Brewmaster Tiny combination, like at what stage do you think they can start moving? Because you do see Toby with the Cinder Brew, which does imply they want to get aggressive, and it's very effective with all the magic damage you do have against a hero like the Terrorblade. But at what point do you think they really start to get moving here in this lane?
Level 3 timing, maybe level 4 timing on your spells. That's where it starts to feel a little bit more comfy to try and burn down. The issue is if you don't manage to get that magic damage off, it just goes back to having a Lich. You're going to be cut off with a Frost Blast. You're going to have the Frost Shield down the line if X-Men repeats need to.
Ghost. A fair bit, but he just finds to back his way out. Just the meta, just in case he needs it, but using it to farm instead. For now, Entity can't really force too much.
Yeah, just gonna have to allow a little bit of build up in Ghost. This lane is going a little bit slower. You know, it's not exactly free farm right now for our Terrorblade, so you are slowing down that pace here for Ghost quite nicely in comparison to what you are getting out for Pure. And Pure did die earlier. Regen on hand and arc. Left the is just stacking and pulling. Opportunity just
Is there Toby? He is going to drop. It's not a good trade whatsoever. I mean, you've got X-Nova, but you lose your Pulse 3 Brewmaster. It's just not great news.
It's not what you want to see. You need that EXP, you need that farm up on the Brewmaster. You want that level 6 up. You want to be able to be chaotic in these fights. RNG, just find a punishment. It takes so much commitment to just kill off X-Nova. And even now, he can just go and top up Somnus over here with his bot.
Just look. You go again, Kaka. The bottom side in trouble. Deny himself off, it seems like. He'll be just fine to do so. Around to even just soak XP is now Somnus. Chased down by Stormstormer. Get those familiars in range. Just try and still creep away here from Somnus. Just being very, very patient. Slowly creeping their way forward into that Radiant jungle, not allowing Somnus the free farm he's looking for.
Under attack.
Somnus actually sticking around on the Leshrac, but not really much he can do at the moment to try and force them back.
Dire's top tower
Doesn't quite have enough damage yet, I think, by himself, considering the build-up on Stormstormer. Going for 2 points in the Gravekeepers, maxing out the Grave Chill. He can just easily run away from the stun. So he's just going to be able to take control, keep farming up, cutting away a source of farm for the side of RNG. RNG, though, they've left Chalice alone up top. He's just pushing in, again, with that Vanguard build-up straight into the Crimson Guard. The minion play coming out from Entity, it's not going to do as much once you've got that AoE effect on a Crimson Guard. It's just going to block so much of that damage.
It will be able to set up for that bottom tier 1 tower, but the top tier 1 also dropping to Chalice. They force out a cliff here on the bottom side. Maybe to just get to work, and you've got the familiars there, so it's not going to take too long to get this tier 1 tower down. But again, Chalice has already pushed that top tier 1 for an even trade. At bottom lane, all they got, it's going to be Kaka. On the Earthshaker, he does get picked off here by Kataomi. Does end up going down very easily.
It's not the biggest kill in the world. It does still open up this bot tower push, although down mid.
Yeah, they've got Fishman. Stun will land, they'll find the AA. A decent trade for either side. Trading supports. 2k advantage now for RNG. Entity, I mean, they've got this timing throughout the mid-game with this push-style lineup, so I don't think they're panicked about this. It's all about just waiting it out, hitting that mid-game, and getting the work done after that.
I still worry about just how well Chalice's farm go. Again, once you've got the Crimson Guard up, can you really push towers that fast with the summons? Because they don't have the highest damage.
That's fair.
It's just about spreading that damage out across multiple units and running down. But you get counteracted by just this one item coming out from Chalice. Not to mention the fact that Atrophy Aura Assault is going to be annoying on siege. So you've got a lot of ways of just stopping that. I mean, Silver is trying to shove Chalice away, but it's not really enough to stave him off. They're trying to go down bot again. They've got good forward vision here from Entity. Really nice forward ward to just keep playing in this area. But they haven't been able to get the big kills they want. They're stalling out the Shaker blink timing, which is nice, but it doesn't feel like that's the biggest tool for RNG at the moment. They're looking elsewhere.
Kaka is still hanging around the bottom side, waiting for that creep wave. He said they don't want to allow the Earthshaker. Free kind of farm, and Entity are certainly still standing very aggressively around that. T1 tower, Stormstormer is going to be there as well. Chalice, he's going to be around to defend, and this is how it becomes very, very challenging.
Maintaining control on the bot jungle, but they kind of split apart. And you are trying to buy some space out here for your life, and yes, that is giving some space. Yes, pushes you back.
The biggest kill in the world, but they'll take it seems, as Kaka will continue, even popping the Echo Slam. Just in case he was going to juke them out, he'll just pop the R, and sadly Chalice is the one to take the kill on the Posri on Lord John, so won't secure the kill himself, but you'll take what you get.
It's worthwhile. I mean, that's the full Crimson Guard out for Chalice. So again, the next time that plump up comes out from NT, the damage is just heavily cut off. And now they get this opportunity to push mid. They've got level 3 Edict. They can just melt their own objectives alone. And he's coming in.
Yeah, they're coming in onto Chalice, but he's such a tanky boy. He's got that Crimson Guard up, so you're just literally doing no damage with these familiars or the wolves. They'll keep trying to move in, but where's the damage output? Kaka, he'll just block the path. Chalice just walks out. No problem. They can group up and just start going for those big tier 1s in the mid lane, or perhaps even the tier 2 towers. In fact, you might have to hold that thought, John, because we've got a big smoke coming out. RNG, smoke just 4, moving their way down towards the bottom side. They're going to find the Visage. That's a big target. They will not connect with the Pit of Malice. Stormstormer with some very good micro, and now Kataomi from the backside with a nice avalanche into the Ice Blast onto Chalice, but where's your follow-up damage? It's not there yet. They'll chase down Somnus on the Leshrac, but he's going to be just fine. In fact, Kaka, he's coming in from the backside, but who are they aiming? Kaka in trouble, is going to drop on the Earthshaker as X-Nova now is completely surrounded and will also go down. In fact, Chalice still trying to tank up, but they're onto Somnus. Somnus, he's a Giga Chat. He might be able to fight back, but not quite. They've got so much damage. In fact, even Ghost showing up at the last seconds of the team fight needs to back his way out, and he will. But it's still a massive win for the side of Entity.
Managed to find the big kills they wanted. RNG were the ones trying to be aggressive. They're looking for that kill, but they don't manage to burst down Stormstormer fast enough. And they miss that angle. Like, they don't get the Pit of Malice off. Really great use of the micro here from Stormstormer to just drop those familiars down. Very plumped up from RNG. And it just gets cut off like that. You have to be careful about grouping so tightly up against that Visage.
So you're looking at the replay right now, and just a very nice avalanche from Kataomi. Just sets up the team fight, and you notice the way they just ignore Chalice altogether. Like, everyone's just, screw the Underlord, don't touch him, go for the big ones. And Kaka, he did try to save the day in the backside of that team fight, but it feels like it allowed another opening for the side of Entity at the end of the day.
Yeah, just allowed them to kind of come in. RNG, look, they're still getting some room out here to farm up on Ghost Dragonlance up, going for a quick Sange into the Scotty here just to have a little bit more stats. You still have this Blink threat from Kafka eventually coming through, though.
X-Nova in big trouble. The Familiars again landing perfectly. They'll need to let X-Nova die. Kataomi looking for a bit more, but doesn't have the spells to throw out. Kaka going to be just fine. They did not have the avalanche. You saw Chalice trying to run his way up the river, but just unable to get there in time as well.
Starting to feel like Entity's starting to hold their ground a lot better. They're using this Visage really well to keep baiting in these plays. And again, just these stuns out from Stormstormer to cut off that aggression. It's so much time that RNG isn't getting as much out of. Because you are finding room to farm up on Ghost, on Somnus, but you're not able to group around and play with your entire team. You have to wait for the respawn, you have to look for that pick-off once more, and it allows Entity to just catch up really nicely. Full Helm of the Overlord up on Pure.
Big enough. Toby, they'll drop the Echo Slam and Toby's gone.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Because they just weren't expecting the rotation from Somnus. Didn't have that the Ancient Black Dragon around him, and obviously he can't do much to help him out, and Toby, he will drop once again.
That's a really important kill for RNG. Blink up for Kaka off the back of that. We still have to wait for the slam to come back off, of course. It's going to take some time, and maybe look for that opportunity unless they find a really good angle just to enchant and go for the fissure. But you've got more play now on RNG. You've got more ways to be aggressive. Your offlane isn't really the most playmaking here for Chalice. It just sits back and farm. So a lot has to come out from Kaka with a blink up. Can kind of set that up for his team. The side of NTT though, again, they're not lagging too far behind. Fairly even game 6-6. 2K lead still on RNG though.
Right about to break out. The wolf form was popped here by Pure as he will try to rush forward. He would love Somnus. It's a massive pickoff. Kaka, he'll cop the Ice Blast with Somnus. He's the real target. Where's the help? He's popped the Bloodstone, trying to survive. In comes the Dark Portal. Now a nice Fisher. Kaka, he may have saved the day, but Somnus is still dropping. May eventually go down as Toby. He's trying to get the work done, but where's the damage output? Somnus, he's going to survive on the left track. They don't have enough to finish the job off. Somnus, how does he walk out of it? He's alive. It's Kataomi. He's the one to drop. Chalice, he makes it just in the nick of time, and they keep going for more now. Fishman, also being caught out on the AA, is going to go down.
Oh, man. It's just that timing out from Chalice and the great use of Somnus with that Bloodstone. Like, you just can't kill him. He's just stealing too much. There are no BKBs to stop him from doing damage, so he's always going to sap some HP back. And it just goes back to how durable you are with the Underlord around you. Once Crimson Guard is up, you just don't die. There's just not enough throughput from the side of Entity. They don't have that burst damage lineup here.
Don't. It's just making a nick of time. It's buying so much time for Ghost as well on this TB. Like, we haven't talked about this man whatsoever, but he's just been hitting creeps this whole game, and it's kind of being ignored. Top of the net worth board, and he has been there for quite a while, and you kind of think with the draft of Entity, like, it may not have its own timing, but you don't want to miss that big timing in the mid game, right? Because once you hit the late game, sure, you're not out of the game, but you're against a Terrorblade, and he's just kind of one of the kings of the ultra late game as a hero, right? Like, just so hard to deal with.
I mean, you have some answers on hand. The AA can make it a little bit more annoying to hold on to your life with the Sunder. Well,
and they go again. Kaka gonna find Kataomi. So they do at least find themselves to support Tiny. Not the biggest deal in the world, but perhaps they could think about Roshan.
yeah, it's not going to take too long. Ghost already in the pit with his Metamorphosis up. And Entity, for their part, it does feel like you rely on that Tiny to come in with the Avalanche Toss for the control. You can try to scout out here with Stormer and his familiars, but it doesn't feel like the follow-through's there without the Tiny.
Roshan gonna go down basically free here as Entity just do not feel confident to try and make their way in. It's the first Roshan of the game, the way of RNG. Ghost Wolf even safer now on this Terrorblade. It hasn't felt like he's been in any danger this whole game, and well, now you've got to kill him twice somehow. Can't there to make sure that Ghost doesn't get jumped by himself, and I just question what the answers are going to be here for this carry.
You need to hit your own timings here in Entity. Maybe a couple of BKBs would help. We're seeing Pure go for the AC, just kind of tank up a bit, up against the damage of Ghost, but that's not an answer for Somnus, because you are kind of counteracting the Terrorblade by more durability, but this Leshrac will still have free reign, and Somnus is going for his own BKB, so he's really not going to care about the jumps in, he's not going to care about the Brewmaster splitting apart, trying to hold him off.
Oh, Echo Slam top lane, they do end up finding Stormstormer. He's fine for now, however, for Kaka, he's the one getting targeted with the Ice Blast, with the Cold Feet, but he's going to be just fine. In fact, now Chalice, he's being targeted, trying to go through the Dark Rift, through the portal, but they're just stunning him up. He's still a very tanky target. Chalice is still trying to go through the door, but it's just closing on him. They will not let the man go through.
A good punishment out from Entity, seeing that opportunity to jump in, knowing that there's no real follow-through from Kaka there, and that Chalice was basically just Beansgating by himself, no backup. A bit confident coming out, trying to jump at this. Stormer, even without, all this farm that we saw from our last Visage game, he's still durable. He still has maxed out Gravekeeper's Cloak, and you can't really burn through that all too fast as an Underlord. You have a lot of... You can hold your ground really well there as well.
Very, very tough. Have to go ahead here. RNG, who are having a few issues. K advantage still there, 9-7. In favor of RNG. They do still hold on to the Aegis. Entity, though, definitely clawing their way back into the game. Now with the Aghanim Scepter up on the Visage. More annoying to try and deal with Stormstormer throughout this game. RNG, with a lot of faith in their TB to carry them through as he's working on toward that Eye of Skadi here on Ghost. Other side, I think naturally Pure going to be going for the AC on the Lycan. Pretty standard build up here for this Lycan. We'll have it very soon. In fact, I believe it's on the Korea now.
Gonna feel a lot better in trying to push against that Crimson Guard at the very least. Amping up your durability up against Ghost. He has been left alone for a long time, but has lagged behind Pure now in terms of overall net worth. Axe out on Toby now as well. Immediate smoke out from Entity. They managed to find the angle here, RNG. It feels like they've sat around for a long time. I mean, you've got the Lesh, you've got the TV. You could try to push, but they're still farming and Entity's ready to go.
They are. Smoke up. The backside, in the Radiant jungle they go. They love a mid-tier 1 tower, but they love a team fight more before that. Ghost, he might bait for the team. RNG is smoked right behind him, and it seems like Entity, they know something is awry. Not risk it, they are just going to back their way out. Gee, they'll wrap around the left side of that mid-river.
Radiant are scanning.
Just behind Ghost, trying to force a fight.
Radiant's middle
You've got the
tower is under
TB, it's the bait everyone loves to try and go for, but it's not going to be that easy to take him
Radiant
down with the Aegis up.
are fortified.
Meanwhile, on the backside, Entity on the other side of things in the Radiant jungle, hanging around. Sending Toby's remnants in.
Radiant's
And they go.
middle tower
Tataomi is there with the avalanche and the toss-up. Somnus, he'll get the BKB up in time. Still perfectly healthy, but is he really? Vermilion, oh boy, he's down. Kaka, he tried to go for the Echo Slam, but it does not help in the end, and he's dropped as well. There's just so much damage now flying out from Entity. They've got the Chain Frost down onto the Underlord. That's going to be another, as Chalice just cannot get away. They just melt.
That was really split up from RNG, and Entity were in a really good spot, just holding that high ground very well, and very patiently, and just kind of drew them in. They had vision on the high ground when the smoke broke. Chalice was just a little bit too far to try and help keep Somnus alive. Like, he did just melt to the Silence's grave coming out there from Stormer in his axe, and it was just overwhelming. Like, RNG can't afford to stay that far apart in two separate fronts to try to make this work, because
Radiant's
once they see the
bottom
Underlord's
tower
not
is
even
under
keeping anyone alive, easily melt that DPS down.
Yeah. So as we do see a replay here, and Somnus getting abused by these familiars, just so far away from his team. Even Kaka forced to Echo to try and help him out, but just could do nothing. Very rough affair here for the side of RNG. Is so many units try and focus down on these team fights as well. It's like, who do you actually focus?
It's hard to call. I mean, it does feel like Stormer is actually the big threat, especially if you can just zip around with Silence's Grave. You know, start to spam around a Soul Assumption fully maxed out now, get the familiars to resummon and get the stuns off. It's really difficult as long as the Visage is there, but it doesn't feel like you have the steadiest answer to the Visage. Focusing him down is just going to give so many opportunities for everyone else to fight in. So I think they've just got to look for a pickoff. Maybe just killing off Fishman might give them enough confidence. Taking away that Ice Blast, which just amps up all of that output from Entity, makes it simpler to look for those kills.
We go mid lane again. This could be another great team fight. If Entity can find a way to try and force this as Ghost. Still hanging around. Have the Aegis this time around and be in big trouble. They do make the jump in. Kataomi is there with the Avalanche Thompson. Now the Ice Blast to fly through. He's stopping a fair bit. Ghost, what do you do about this one? He'll go for the Sunder. Meanwhile on the backside, Pure. He's been caught out. X-Nova holds him down and they just burst him down on the Lycan. But this time around, Entity getting a little bit too overly confident, and RNG, they were ready for it.
I love that they managed to get that Wraith pack going now this time as well. So they mitigate a lot of that burst onto Ghost. Give him enough time to just underway. And the A doesn't really stop you from health swap. So you're not really affected by the Ice Blast. You force a lot of attention on one big tanky target. And, you know, Ghost is extremely tanky now with the Skadi, Dragonlance, and SNY. Now that gives them the opportunity to push for a tier 2. A little bit of a split push going on down bot. Kataomi just keeping that bot lane shoved in. But you've got that full aggression now from RNG. They've got the Leshrac around. They really want to fully commit. Entity, they can scout around, and Storm is still really strong. He does manage to get in.
A mid-tier 2 tower just not going to last. RNG happily take it away.
Middle tower has fallen.
Be on the sidelines just waiting. That perfect opportunity to try and move back in and force another fight. Still 1k ahead is the side of Entity, but they are slowly losing map control now, and be a bit of a rough time now going into RNG's end of things again. You're still trying to deal with the TB in a way. Pure is the highest net worth on the board, but it just doesn't matter if you get caught out, and they just have the lockdown here with Kaka and X-Nova. Of course, Chalice as well with the Pit of Malice.
Available for RNG. For Entity, and this is where you start to get a little bit concerned about scaling. Onto the late game, onto the mid to late game part, you just feel so much more confident. On the Terrorblade, you kind of get second wind on the Leshrac once BKBs start to fade away, and we don't even see any initial BKBs yet. from Entity, so not an immediate worry, as you will still have some long charges on Pure, waiting for the recipe to be finished up. But as it drags on, it just feels like RNG is going to have more solutions. They're going to be able to split push really nice with the Terrorblade. They're going to be able to force objectives really fast with that Metamorphosis and with the Diabolic Edict coming out. On the side of Entity, it feels like they're the ones that just needs to find his timing now. They'll smoke up once more.
Ooh, could be dangerous though. Ghost has got a double damager inactive right now. This could be the worst timing possible here for Entity, but they're still maybe going to try and force this fight. They don't know about this TB's DD. Smoked up in the mid lane, but not moving too far forward yet. Few D wards out while they can, while Roshan does now respawn up, so big objective for both these sides. And to maintain control around the Roshan pit now is the side of Entity. RNG will do the exact same thing in that Radiant Triangle. Very annoying against Toby's Primal Companion as well. Like, you've always got so many ways of scouting out the side of RNG. Hard to be able to actually try and move into that Roshan pit. RNG, they are going to smoke up themselves now as 5. Ahead of though. The mid lane they go. Just kind of sitting back on that high ground of the Dire jungle. Will counter smoke now. The 5-on-5 situation between these two teams.
Dire are scanning.
Answer bot somehow, but with a smoke commitment, they can't clear out that lane. And Somnus is going to have to show up. It's going to give them a numbers advantage to Entity if they do fully commit to that movement out.
Very smart play from Entity, just trying to force the hand of RNG. They certainly are doing so. It's a 4v5 right now, I suppose. Let's try to use the ulti there to try and bring him back. G patiently waiting, and so are Entity. Trying to rush into this fight. Again, it is a best of one. Loser of this match has to go home today. A lot on the line here between these two. Just again, very patient. 11-11, very slight net worth lead. This next team fight could decide that pretty much the outcome of the game. Like, this second Roshan just so important.
Just showing respect to each other, knowing how close this map state is, really. It's a 2k lead for Entity, 11-11 on the board. Either side can really just take a big fight and suddenly have a huge swing their way. Now, for Entity's part, they do have that full BKB on Pure. Still a 9-second charge. He's not going to have to worry about Somnus. He's got the armor to deal with Ghost here as well, so he's not going to get bursted down up front if they manage to find that angle. And, of course, you've got the Blink and the Force Staff up in Kataomi, so it's much easier for them to put someone away, drag them away from RNG, which is where we've seen them weakest. And when they're split apart, when you're not close enough for your Underlord to stay alive, it just feels really awkward for Somnus to hold his ground there.
Certainly does. Hitting down that Dire Triangle. In their time, understanding RNG and not moving their way into that Roshan pit, will just keep the farm up, going for that Nullifier now on Pure. Speaking of farm, Butterfly now available on our TB. Ghost again, just been farming like a madman, does have his Butterfly up. Very effective against all the units you have to try and survive against. Just that added evasion going to be very effective with Ghost here on the TB. All about keeping this man alive throughout the team fights.
He's tough not to crack. He doesn't even have his own protective item yet. BKB also coming out late for him. Just gonna play this patience game. They understand so much is on the line here. It's a best of one. Your game is really even. You know both teams have really good timings at this point. You want to wait for more, and just kind of leads to a steadier game state. You play in the triangle, they play in the Dire jungle. You can maybe scout around, but you don't want to risk it.
Yeah. Very frustrating, like that bot lane's constantly being forced down here by the units of Entity. We saw earlier, you do have to have Somnus just rotate constantly to try and make sure that is defended and pushed back out. Entity, though, they were unable to force the Roshan fight that time around, but perhaps this time, make it happen. Problem is the wave has already been pushed out here by Somnus, so he can easily rejoin his team and be prepared for that next team fight. Quite a nice arcane room here, and Pure will guard it with his own body. I'm going to give that over to, and it does seem like Pure does take that arcane for himself.
Radiant are scanning.
This bot lane just always being pushed in, just never being left alone. You've got to make a decision as RNG, like, do you want to force a fight? Do you want to keep defending that bot lane? It was like no matter what you choose, you kind of lose here, but RNG, they are going to 5-man smoke up. On the Roshan pit they go. They won't try to force the Roshan quite yet. Their way through that dire jungle. Still frontline for the team. Chalice right behind him. See Toby here on the broom after Karkar's in. He's popped the Echo Slam immediately. Just no hesitation with the fourth staff away. He's going to allow him a way out. There's now the Ice Blast. It'll land on a couple. Chalice, he'll be okay to walk. And it seems like Entity are not interested in trying to force this fight. They're just happy everyone survives. That'll be enough for them.
They're still getting that bot lane shoved in still. A lot of creeps out. RNG, if they miss an opening, they pop Metamorphosis. There's now pressure here on RNG. Do you want to fully commit for the Roche? Can you fully commit for the Roche with the bot lane shoved in as deep as it is? It's a risky take, but they have no choice. If Meta's down, they need to go for it.
Yeah, they've got to try. Ghost is in. Roshan being chipped away at. Fishman, he's around the corner. Storm able to scout out with the Familiars. It's a very hard Roshan for RNG to try and take. It's very forced like you mentioned, and they are eventually going to have to back their way up. It's just not the Roshan you really want here. So many ways of getting that vision in the pit here for Entity. Now even a Nullifier out on Pure. It's going to make life even more challenging for the side of RNG. Luckily for them, at the very least, the bot lane is not being forced in any longer, so they don't have to worry about that for now. What they do have to worry about is this 4-man smoke up from the side of Entity. They do wrap around river area, trying to make their way over to that Radiant Triangle. Ghost is going to show himself. Fisher is committed just on the Familiars, trying to burst them down, but Ghost, he does get caught out. Ice Blast and a big avalanche is out. Kataomi setting up perfectly. Chalice is in big trouble here on the Underlord. He might just drop and does. Meanwhile, X-Nova getting chased down, but will be left alone, so instead they'll go after Kaka on the Earthshake. There'll be another as Ghost now is completely surrounded. How does he survive this one? It doesn't seem like he can, though. Chalice does try to move in, but it's not in time. They are falling like flies here, the side of RNG. Entity, they will just keep moving forward. Somnus still trying to fight. Does go man up against Pure. In fact, that's a lot of damage from Somnus. He's got one down and another. He's found Pure on the Lycan. Somehow RNG still managed to find a way to fight back, and it's off the back of Somnus.
Yeah, they did have to buy back on multiple heroes for that. Almost the entire team have to choke back up in that fight. It's going to cost them. They at least have a Roshan to take, so there's some security coming in here. I think if you're Entity, you're still very happy. You force out a lot of spells. You force out a lot of good movement there. You manage to cut off Ghost, isolate him from the rest of his team, and just play around that. You toss him up in the air with a Brewmaster. You keep him so far away that he just doesn't have anyone to back him up. And you make it extra awkward for RNG to consider. Just trap him in that ramp. Couldn't do much.
Perfect initiation by Kataomi. Like you mentioned, John, if it wasn't for the 4 buybacks to come out from RNG, they just would have had no chance in hell of even turning that. And quite frankly, yeah, you got the Roshan at the end. Definitely great news for RNG, but heavy costs coming out for their side. Kataomi, just so much impact on that support Tiny. Or at least RNG in the meantime do manage to take the top tier 2 tower. They do have up now. Something for their trouble, but I imagine with the buybacks down, chances are you are not going to be able to try and force high ground.
You're going to have to play it cautiously, just hold back, build back up. Then we try to finish off that BKB here on Ghost, very close to just having the entire gold for that. And once you've got that protection on the Terrorblade, that's where you can start to get a little bit riskier. Still a rather even game. The odds are showing a slight favoring there for side of Entity. Small margin coming out. So still holding even despite all the back and forth, although RNG are finding the game a little bit tougher. Without that security of any buybacks, Entity has a lot more room for error here.
Grouped up unit. G. Same here in this mid lane as they do see the Overlord creep, and they'll try to move in and take that one out. Fine for now. Meanwhile on the backside, looks like they have found X-Nova on that ledge. Crimson Guard though, he is going to remain safe. Familiars just do not have the damage through that Crimson Guard. Ghost, let's take care of the Familiars now as well. Stormer, he'll go ahead and respawn them right back up. It's such a close game between these two teams, just neither side willing to give an advantage over. To take the outpost here, Entity, they want to try and control the bottom side of the map and maybe just keep working on towards that bottom high ground. Doing a fantastic job with just the units being thrown onto those creep waves over and over again. Just waste the time of the Aegis here for Ghost. Just don't allow them the opening to actually find a successful team fight on RNG's end.
Just prevent them from trying to reach that high ground here from RNG. Like, don't give them any confidence to try to take that risk with the Aegis right now. Keep playing on your side of the map, on their side of the map quite nicely here, and just kind of keep them locked in. Once this Aegis expires, Ghost is going to be feeling pretty awkward. He still needs to farm up for that buyback. He has to wait 2 extra minutes after the Aegis expires for buyback. So it's a lot of room for Entity to actually just do what they want. And they are doing quite nicely here as well. RNG for their part, I mean, they've got protection up, they've got the full BKB for Ghost, they've got the blink up for Somnus along with a shard. So split Earth Spam can kick in, they can complicate that high ground push and really make it tough in the middle of these team fights for Entity to kind of try to reposition themselves. But it does feel like the one thing is that the impact of Chalice is kind of falling off a bit. I mean, you can still play around really big with Fiend's Gate. The After aura is still sort of nice, and the Crimson Guard's nice as well, but you're not getting an easier way to do these fights now, especially if you absolutely whiff the Pit of Malice, then it doesn't feel like you're getting much out from the Underlord, at least in these big 5v5s.
Here we go again. 4-man smoke up RNG. They are going to try and make their way through that dire jungle. The triangles, they do find one, but Kataomi, a very quick flick away. Going to be just fine as Ghost. Far forward. His team right behind him, but will be tornadoed up here. The Brewling of Toby. Just unable to find a fight once again. There's only 58 seconds left on that Aegis that he does hold. Well, he's Stormer down at the bottom side, but they just can't make the jump in onto the Visage. You might find a bottom tier 1 tower, but this Aegis, it really just doesn't seem to have really paid off for the side of RNG. I mean, it's bought you time in the game, but that's about all it's done.
I think that's really the purpose of it. Just stall out. You bought back en masse in that last fight. You needed security. Just get that. You play it slow. You farm back buybacks. You wait out that timer. And you just find whatever objectives you can take. Starting to pierce into that tier 2 bot. Not going to really fully commit. The side of Entity's now fully smoked off. They find a good angle here. There's still some more time until those buybacks are back up.
They're wrapping through that dire triangle. RNG aren't around there anymore. They just leave the area. Risk anything. 10 to 15 now. 4K advantage. 40 minutes in. Teams the best of 1 series, playing it very, very safely, not wanting to get eliminated this early into PI 11. Chalice is going to get jumped though. A nice avalanche toss back, but Chalice does have the BKB up. Will just TP away immediately. Missing around though, Ghost now spotted by Kaka. They do actually land a nice tornado out onto the Earthshaker. Kaka, he will be able to force staff away, but the chase is on. Kataomi's there with the avalanche. It's not going to be enough though. He's still fine. Desperately trying to find something for their trouble. Xnova, he's being chased down by these units on Pure, but even he's just fine. Crimson Guard of Chalice, he's going to be able to back his way out, survive another day.
Just a little bit poking and prodding, bit of a deep chase out from Entity that doesn't find us so much. Chalice did have to pop the Fiend's Gate to try to give them an angle out, but a little bit far out from Kaka and from Ghost. Doesn't quite matter. Everyone stays alive in the end. That does mean there's more time for the side of RNG. This really favors RNG, actually, because again, they're waiting for these buybacks to go back up. They're farming up, trying to get themselves back into the game, equalize the game a bit more. Whereas Entity, they need to find these kills now. It feels like if you're going to have that window onto the high ground, you find one core kill here for a full minute with no buyback. That's enough time to melt those objectives.
RNG, they're going to occupy that dire jungle. The outpost back, maybe set up for the next Roshan. Be very well aware that Roshan's still a very far way away. Biscuit just letting that go for now. Have smoked up though, they might want to just try and fight. Again, they've been looking to try and fight the side of RNG for quite a long time. Just doing a good job of trying to avoid them all together, but Stormer going to move in, has the vision of the familiars as well as the wolves coming up from Pure. They're going to find Ghost on the TV, and they will slowly start to move in. Ghost kind of surrounded here, does get tornadoed up. Pure, he'll pop the wolf form. Who are they going to target down first? On the top side, they found Xnova, they found Kaka. Both supports in trouble. Xnova already got it, now Kaka just drops to the damage of Pure. It's just so much damage as Somnus needs to back out. The BKB is wearing off. He does get nullified. Ghost, he's going to try and man fight through this, but can he really do it? It seems like he'll try. Toby will back out. They will lose Fishman, however. That's the AA down. That's at least one down for the side of RNG, but Entity, they do buy back. In fact, RNG, they will not stick around. Somnus, he's going to be just fine. Pure, target the damage off. So it's really just a 2-for-1 trade. Buyback forced out by Fishman. Who do you call that a win for here, John?
You're a bit happier if you're RNG. It's not the biggest kill in the world. You do lose your 2 supports, but you managed to survive True while, you know, we're still waiting for a couple of those buybacks. Buybacks are back up for Kaka and Xnova, and you don't have Metamorphosis to play around, so that is still another opening for Entity to gun for. But your Primal Split's down for a little bit longer. You're gonna have to just reset. You force the buyback out from Fishman here.
Somnus. Next up, Stormstormer just kind of going in on his own. Pure is around the corner and so is Kataomi, but here comes Ghost and Chalice. They're going to try and make something happen. Toby, he'll show off the Brewmaster. Ghost still willing to just fight back. Does take down the Brewling. They will focus down the Familiars and just the units in general. As much gold as you can out of this. It just doesn't feel like you ever really see a big 5v5 team fight between these two teams. Just all about these units being thrown out.
Skirmishes, poking, prodding, checking to see if anyone's going to overcommit and punish them. You're not looking to make any of those mistakes yourself. Too much on the line for you to take that risk. You just send out the units, send out the illusions, and let them do the work for you. Side of RNG, they are getting that build up on Ghost. He's going for the full Silver Edge now. So more damage, a source of break to kind of help him out and bursting someone down. Definitely going to help the cause there. A Lincoln's coming out from Somnus to help defend himself, especially from Nullifiers. Going to be really nice to have as well. A little bit more for that to be up, though.
Oh boy, they've got Chalice. That's a big one, but does BKB up. In fact, now the Pit of Malice turning right back around Toby. He's a big target. He'll be able to force stuff away, though, and does get the Primal Spit off. Because now Ghost, he'll be targeted here with the toss back on Kataomi, but Ghost is still fine. He will get forced stuffed out of there. Meanwhile, Xnova being chased down by the units of Pure. In the backside, though, they've got an Echo Slam. They've got the Sunder. Pure being gazed up. Can they get some revenge here? They cannot. He is still just fine. Chalice is the one to go down on the Underlord, but Ghost still trying to man up, still trying to fight against Toby. Toby will force stuff away. Where's the team fight? Entity, it seems like they're out once again. They'll find a couple, they'll get the buyback out from Chalice, and that's going to be enough for them.
That's a big win for Entity. They force out the Metamorphosis. The flank coming out from Pure is just huge. He runs in on the side. No one can really handle him. Still had the BKB to come on as well. And he just makes short work of some of these softer targets. Yeah, you don't find the biggest kills, but just wasting Metamorphosis, wasting another BKB charge out, it's more than worthwhile for Entity.
Certainly is. It's all about the buybacks here in this game. Roshan is now officially back up. Scary times once again for both sides. Also for RNG, though, as Entity just, again, have so many ways of scouting out what's happening in the pit. It feels like they're never really worried about Roshan being just snuck behind their backs.
Radiant's courier has been
Get
killed.
some D-wards off. Courier of Kaka on the high ground. Next, Roshan just feels so important in a game like this, just so tight right now, and you do have that Axe Blessing available as well in this next Roshan. RNG, 5-man smoke up. To the mid-river they go, the mid lane. Entity, they are hanging around that dire jungle. It's a double damage naturally on the bottom side of the map right now, John, and it does seem like RNG are going to find it right before Roshan. Ghost will take it for himself. This could be the opening they're looking for. Roshan, not yet, but Entity slowly making their way over to the pit. Might just get to work, and he will. Roshan now under siege. RNG, they're the ones that need to make the first move. Balls in their court. How do they initiate this one? Kataomi already on the outskirts of the Roshan pit, not allowing anyone to sneak in, and now Xnova, he does get caught out, but barely does not drop. He does survive for another day as the Ice Blast is going to fly through Xnova. He is going to force stuff and barely avoid it for now. Roshan still being taken by the side of Entity. Seems like they had no chance to try and initiate that team fight.
They just couldn't find the angle in. You get the full salvo of items from Orochi, Aegis up, Cheese up, Axe Blessing being held onto by Pure here. Wondering who's he gonna pass that on to. Doesn't look like he's gonna be needing the Wolf Bite in this game. You could probably give it a shot. Wolf Bite on a Visage with Silence the Grave sounds like a really big meme. We've never seen that one. Would have maybe like to see that would be pretty funny, but it's fairly open. Look like he has passed it on to Kataomi. So you've got the tree volley on hand, which is always nice. Because suddenly you just pick up a Chrysalis on his support Tiny and he does 1 million damage.
And he already has a Chrysalis, John, going into the Daedalus, so why the hell not? That tree volley coming out here as a support Tiny, and Kataomi going to be very, very happy with that. So such a close game, but now with the Aegis intact and Entity's end of things, it's their game to lose, it feels like. They've got the 14k net worth lead. We are 48 minutes in, so the net worth may not matter so much, but it just feels like every team fight, they're able to disengage as soon as they want to. They see one buyback, they're out of there. Every single time. It's going to be the story of the game here between these two teams. Just unwilling to give any openings to the other. Yeah, they hang around that mid-river, but nobody willing to initiate a fight.
Just play patiently, especially on Entity. They're not in a rush anymore. They know they scale really nicely. RNG, it's kind of all in on just having Ghost do something here. So they get the tips out, Metamorphosis popped along with the DD. Not the best feeling in the world. Entity's got that opening. They know once that fades, gonna be on cooldown for quite a fair bit. Get a nice set of kills. No need to worry about the Terrorblade. Simplified process for the high ground.
So, it's a simplified process, John, but there's no simple anything about this game. It just feels like everything's complicated.
Always is.
Absolutely, Somnus takes care of that bot lane once again. RNG still patiently waiting for this high ground defense to come. Entity still just split pushing the side lanes. Yeah, John, I'd hate to say it, but is this, do I jinx it with the T? Do I say it? The T fight?
I mean, it could go on for 10 more minutes if RNG hold on. Right. One big team fight could end it.
All right, Chalice. Dishes there. Ice Blast will follow through. There's your free volley, but it does get juked out, and Chalice will force Staff away.
Radiant's top tower is under
Yeah,
attack.
I mean, it could last 10 more minutes. It's just 10 more minutes away. So
Well, you said
maybe.
it, not me, John.
Yeah, I'm not saying number. Just implying 10 minutes is needed for that number to come up.
Right.
Maybe. RNG are doing a good job of holding though. Like they are 16k behind. It's not the biggest deficit at this point. It is still a good amount of items coming out to the rest of your cores. If you look at the farm distribution, the one issue for RNG is that you're not scaling on challenge, although.
Dire's
Up from the
middle
tree
tower
line,
is under
RNG
attack. Radiant
successfully
are
back off, but
scanning.
everywhere you look, Entity's got the advantage. High ground on one side, tree line on the other. Gonna hang around that mid-tier 2 tower. Ghost cannot afford to die here on the TB, though to be fair, he does have buyback, but you'd rather not have to commit it.
Is under
Especially
attack.
when you're so close to your own base.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Two top tower, just gonna slowly be focused down. It was forced out, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna do too much at the end. While Fisher, land onto Toby. The problem is, it just feels like you can't really make the jump in. Like there's all these units in front of him. So much counter initiation here from Entity. They're just always ready to go. They've got that high ground advantage as well. RNG being very, very patient with this game. Now 15 minutes in, just not trying to force anything. They naturally want that high ground advantage themselves. Do you see Somnus eat 2 tombs for himself now, very close to that level 25 bar?
Yeah, he gets it as well with the last home there. So does have the Lightning Storm bouncing on 2 units, or bouncing twice on units, which is really nice in stalling out this game further, right?
Yeah.
You can just hold forever, and maybe they are going to try to hit those next 9 minutes here. Is rather even. The side of
Dire's
Entity would
bottom
feel a
tower
lot better
is
into
under
that point of the game, though. They control the majority of the map. Just clear out those cancels. Gotta be a bit careful. RNG, and they can stall well. It's a
Dire's
Leshrac,
bottom tower
it's an
is under
Underlord.
attack.
Your wave clear is really good. So even if you start to lose some tier 2s,
Radiant's top
high ground
tower
hold is
is
still
falling.
there. Entity don't mind playing that game.
Absolutely not. They're simply enjoying themselves here. Sure, Stormer pushing with the familiars. He's the Firestorm. Immediately just walks them out once again. Unwilling to feed any free gold away to the side of RNG. Did he expect their way up? No rush for them. Aegis about to expire in 5 seconds. They're not risking anything. More farm to be had on Pure. A Bastion now coming out on the Lycan. A way of cancelling TPs off and actually locking people down throughout these fights. And it just feels like they're in full map control here. There's just no need to rush this game.
Just kind of hold back, keep waiting. I mean, there are a couple of items I think RNG could try for. The overwhelming blink is coming out from Somnus. You do have the full Ags up on Ghost, which is great to see. He does need something to kind of help him out. when that Metamorphosis is down, he's going to have an option, at least with a Terror Wave coming through. Will have some contributions for the team, and you're not beholden to this long cooldown as much as you used to. However, you do have the refresh up on Toby. So you still have the double primal splits coming out. Also really annoying, especially in the late game. Like, all you need to do is really just fly Ghost up for the entire team fight. And that's it. Your Terrorblade's going to be isolated at the end, and it's a really easy target to handle.
Definitely is. Now, Tommy right nearby. Quite yet, but does have his own smoke broken. Back off immediately. Ghost is probably invis around the corner. Things going up here. Slowly but surely getting stronger as the smoke is going to be there once again from Entity. High ground being held in this Radiant Triangle there from RNG, and they're going to counter smoke. This could be the big team fight we've been waiting for as Entity. So many ways of scouting out. Not so much through this smoke, but now that the smoke is broken on a couple, all they found, it's going to be Stormstormer. The Pit of Malice to lock him down. The Fish is there to follow up, and in comes Kataomi and X-Nova. He just gets deleted by the support Tiny as he keeps moving forward. Ghost, who do we go for? Stormstormer, he's the target. They finally find the Visage, or maybe not Stormstormer. He's still running, but X-Nova, he's trying to get the job done himself, and eventually Ghost will find it. 2 down. Entity, they've lost a couple here, and it seems like RNG have finally cracked an opening open for themselves as Kaka, he even finds another. He's going to find Toby, but there is going to be the refresh. The primal split once again. Toby's still blocked up by the Fisher, and now Ghost can get right to work, but they want that Earth Panda. They need it. The slow from the Eye of Skadi. Maybe they've got it. Toby trying to run, but is not going to make it out.
No buyback on him.
No buyback on Toby. And suddenly the game is swinging back the other way.
It's opened up.
Dire's middle
Entity,
tower is under
they
attack.
got some good scouting around there with Storm, but they didn't manage to follow up. He
Radiant's
managed to get a good
bottom
jump
tower
in.
is under attack.
Doesn't live true. And you still have a lot of damage on Ghost, even though it doesn't feel like when he's whacking a Visage away. The high ground still clears up.
Yeah, first racks of the game to go the way of RNG, and I can't really believe I'm saying that, John, but they've made a great comeback here in this game. I'm gonna say game 1 again, John, but it is still a best of 1. Just reminding myself, Fisher does come out. Chalice finds to back his way out, and again, it's still a very slow game. Like, you are still behind as RNG. Sure, you're 1 racks up now, but you could lose one team fight, and the game could just snowball back the other way. Though I say that, Pure does get caught out. He's the biggest target. The Gaze is going to lock him down, drag him out. The Kataomi, he's got the dieback on the lift. So X-Nova, he's down for 80 seconds. In goes Pure with the wolf form, but he needs to run away as Kaka, looking for the chase, waiting for the BKB, but now the Fisher is going to lock him down. Somnus should have the damage and will eventually get it out. Pure's down for 100, but he does have buyback.
He can come back in. He's not going to have the wolf form, and Kaka again with the great blocks in this game, ensuring they find that major kill. And they might not be able to take the risk onto the high ground. It's not the comfiest spot. You do feel like a bit of a reset. You're waiting for Metamorphosis to come back up, but Roshan's up in a few seconds. So you've got this big objective to play for, and Entity, even with that buyback commitment, it can feel a little bit risky going into that pit. Roshan's got everything on hand again.
Absolutely. Everything now available on this Roshan. RNG, they'll get to work. Entity, they've got no way to answer to this. I mean, this is the first Roshan. It feels like that RNG could just kind of walk into the pit and finally get it done. And here we go. Everything available. Let's see what they can get done with it. Entity, they're the ones now that need to find a way to slow down this game. Kaka, it's like he's got the Axe Blessing on himself, though. Has he handed it? He has. Chalice will take it for himself now.
That's really disruptive with the Fiend's Gate, with a Pit of Malice on both sides, and the slow as well. Like, combining that with the control coming out from Kaka, it's going to be a lot easier for them to lock in these heroes like the Lycan, like the Visage when he does have the Grave Chill, the Grave Chill on, yeah. So you've got a lot of control coming in to counteract all that movement. There is still good wave clear coming out from Kataomi. He just gets a tree volley off, your wave does die. So going into the high ground is still a process here for RNG, but they even get a refresh up on Ghost. He's ready. Whew. Secondary life, doesn't matter if you waste the Metamorphosis or Terror Wave or the BKB, you're always going to be able to have any of that on hand for the next. Although it is costly in the mana, does have the stats to back that up.
Absolutely. This game just feels so much tighter now. Barricade advantage just doesn't matter. 4.5 minutes away from that time. Dire triangle occupied by Entity, but they are eventually going to back their way out. RNG was slowly making their way over down towards the bottom side, bottom lane. The lane with the final outer tower here for RNG. They want that bottom tier 2 gone. They might approach high ground with that Aegis up. Plenty of time available, and like you just pointed out, John, the refresher orb going to be very impactful here on Ghost.
Radiant are
Especially with that
scanning.
Terror Wave, you can't underestimate that fear. G, they'll find the bottom
Dire's
tier 2.
bottom tower has
Question
fallen.
is, do they want the high ground?
Gold.
I mean, they could just gun. There's not too much of a risk left. Buybacks are available once more. The issue is, with Kataomi around, as long as he gets the Protoss trees out, your creep wave just melts. It is tougher, although the next creep wave is coming in. They're just poking and prodding again, setting in the illusions to get that dirty work done.
These head picks don't fly, John, but Ghost, we just saw him flying there for a moment in that Hex form. Still going to keep moving in. Wave is there now, but he has slowed this one down. They are going to fortify up. More Cyclones out onto the TP as Ghost. Very patient, still has that Metamorphosis. The Pocket still has the refresh available. Slowly chipping away with the illusions, but they are being dispelled here by the Storm Panda. Actually, I think RNG might just have to let this one go and go for a reset. You've still got 2 minutes, 20 seconds on this Aegis timing. You can afford to reset and maybe come back another time.
Yeah, no rush. You've got all the tools under your belt here. For the side of RNG, its entity's just kind of pushed back. Dagon does fly on. A little bit more burst damage on hand. See if it's going to be enough to make a big difference here. Give me Dagon though. Always fun.
Absolutely. A lot of fun. And another double damage room on that top side, Jonathan. Another double damage available for RNG. I mean, it feels like they're just getting blessed with double damage after double damage here, and they're certainly going to be happy to accept this one. Ghost will take it himself. Well, now you've really got no choice. You've got to try and go high ground again.
Yeah, you've got Metamorphosis ready. Terror Wave not too far off. So, yeah, no risk here at all. The one thing is, again, wave clear is still pretty good for Entity. It does feel like you'd want to catch one of them off guard. Get that pickup once more, so we've seen RNG sort of find the angle for. They haven't really been using the Fiend's Gate for any aggressive movement now, or defensive, but they'll get to it.
They're away about Ghost, just going to get right to work. The bot tier 3 tower already gone. Bottom racks, not going to last long either. Kataomi is going to jump in though. Avalanche tosses out. Ghost is in big trouble. He got Sans and he will go down the first time. But he's got the Aegis. He's got the refresh. He's still got the initial meta, but the Sans is there with a nullifier.
Oh my god!
Oh, Ghost is gone. And the rest of RNG, they need a way out of this team fight. Chalice just leaves, but he's left by himself. Somnus needs to TP out on the tree line. With the BKB is going to be all right. But they've got Ghost down. He does have buyback available. And Jonathan, we've jinxed nothing. It's 60 minutes in. We've got tier 5 items.
Yeah, it's coming out. And I think the one thing that changed was really who had control on the map. 10 minutes ago, Entity had control, then
Here
for a
we go.
while, RNG had it. Now, Entity has it back again. Find the Arcanist armor. I mean, pretty damn useful up against something like Leshrac on hand.
Just give the Giants ring. We know that's what
Giants.
everyone wants to see.
Yeah, I want to see a gigantic flying Visage around. See that last fight? Great toss back from Kataomi. Catches out that Terrorblade, and the instant Hex. He couldn't refresh the BKB. All the control in the world, and no one could follow up from RNG's end.
Absolutely not. Mirror Shield now coming out, Ex Machina as well, and the Seer Stone. Just items being dropped. Just taking those items as soon as they possibly can and backing their way back towards their base. Knowing they don't really want to have to try and force the buyback out from Ghost.
Radiant's middle tower
Try and
is under
avoid it and just
attack.
hold out for now.
Radiant's middle tower has
Ex
fallen.
Machina was taken by Somnus, and Mirror Shield actually taken by our TB, though he is still dead. Maybe just prepping for that buyback. Meanwhile, Parrot Hat is sitting there on Pure, so more attack speed on his side of things here on the Lycan. Else gone. You've got the Arcanist armor here on the Visage. It's makes him an even harder target to try and burst down, let alone the rest of his teammates. Stone, of course, naturally on the Pulse 5 Fishman, he has to suffer. He gets the boring item.
Is what it is. Destiny of the support. Get the funnest item in the world.
Nah.
But it is a useful item. Seer Stone is pretty nice, revealing an area.
Dire's middle
Nice to
tower
cut
is
off
under
any
attack.
movement RNG might want to bring out there. side of RNG for their part. I mean, it's not the end of the world losing that push. They still have the advantage. You've always got to send some units, send some heroes up top to control that. Smoke out here, though, could find themselves in an interesting spot.
We go. RNG. They're going to try and force something. They found Toby. The root is there. He shouldn't follow up. You don't have the burst damage, though, with the Aeon Disc. He's going to be just fine to reinitiate this team fight with his own primal split. But they are trying to back off and cut Taomi. Look at the damage output from this Tiny with the tree volley. He does at least find Karka, but the buyback is there. Ghost now is trying to force the fight once again, but does need to back out. It just doesn't seem like the one. As the BKB does wear off, and now Entity, they keep moving forward. They want the Terror Blade. They've got it locked down with the Essential Blade. Ghost is in big trouble. He's going to try and find a way to buy back. He'll go for the Terror Wave, but it does nothing through the BKB. This is not the team fight. RNG needs to get back to the high ground and will do so. Did you see the damage out from Kataomi, John? This is a support Tiny with an Apex. Don't underestimate the amount of damage this man has.
Apex, Monkey King Bar, BKB, Daedalus. Very standard support Tiny items at this point in the game, of course.
Rapier queued up as well.
Yeah, of course. You want to end this game, just get that Divine up, just whack away on those buildings, and the game's going to be over pretty fast if you're not careful. RNG for their part. I mean, that was such a costly fight. Refresh pop from our Terrorblade Ghost, and he has that refresh orb in the backpack.
Yeah.
So it's also just not going to refresh anything for the next long time. We'll have to bring that active. And Entity, again, they find themselves in this position where they've got so much more to play with.
Oh boy.
Refresh up on Stormstormer as well, flying out. Roshan going to see that timer in about 15 as well.
Look at the Stygian Desolator now, John, on this support Tiny, so things are even scarier now for the side of RNG.
Balanced.
Very balanced, Jonathan, very balanced indeed. What about the T5 items for RNG? Like, what are they? We've got one more to go. Can we get a Giant Ring in this game? Like, we haven't gotten one yet from either side.
I don't know if you really want it on RNG anywhere. Like, Giant's Ring on Ghost is going to be nice. The added strength is good. It feels like you might want something else.
Oh.
It's going to keep you in the field. I know. Like, Giant's Ring on Chalice would be funny. I just don't know if it really does anything. Arcanist Armor just kind of does the same thing for your team.
Yeah, they go again. Mid lane, they're going to find some familiars and some units. They're Cure. He's going to pop the Wolf Form. They have found him out. He'll go for the BKB right back in onto Somnus, just chomping him down. It's a fair bit of damage, but not quite enough. Somnus, he'll turn around. Looking for the fight, but Pura's out of there. They know where RNG are. Entity, they don't want to fight without the Wolf Form, but they might just think about it. Mid lane, Chalice will get hexed up here by Stormstormer. It's a fair bit of damage with that Bloodthorn. We're still going for it with the Familiars, but with that Crimson Guard, he's taking a fair bit of it as Chalice still in trouble. He's going to walk his way out. Meanwhile, Kataomi looking for a way back into the team fight as Stormstormer. Now the one in trouble. Somnus moving back in with the Bloodstone charges, trying to get some damage down. Chalice, in the meantime, in the mid lane, just tanking all the units out here from Entity. They're just dealing with Broodlings.
They dance around really nicely. Kataomi gets a really good angle to just get 2 tree volleys off. No one dies in the end, so a lot expended from both sides. It does feel like you risk it a lot more on RNG's part, having to pop the BKB on Ghost to just try and find something in the middle. Entity, find anything for their trouble either. So we're stuck in a bit of a deadlock here, Mike.
Yeah.
Probably the longest game of the day already. 65 minutes in, 66 minutes in for day 1.
There goes X-Nova. He's not going to last long against that support Tiny, but in comes Ghost, trying to punish as he cannot. In fact, now Ghost, he's the one turned on. That's a bad position. Somnus, he's shot in though with a massive split earth, and now Chalice, he's there with the Pit of Malice as well. Trying to burst them down. The Familiars, the Visage, he's in big trouble. Karka's out with the Echo Slam. Maybe they've got it up, and they do. Stormstormer's gone, but Somnus, he will drop as well onto Toby. The Aeon Disc is going to proc into the Primal Split they go. X-Nova, he brought back into the team fight. He'll back his way out, at least for now, and it's going to be just fine. It's another reset fight.
Yeah, it's just back to the start. Buybacks expended by both sides. You find a bit of a bigger kill on the side of Entity, managing to take out Somnus. He did get a little bit more in exchange. It's back to this next Roshan, Mike.
It's best of one Dota.
Back up. This is best of one Dota. No one wants to leave TI.
No.
So everything's online. You're playing as hard as you can to find that clean win condition. You don't want the risk. Roshan saw them dance around this objective for a long time as well last time, Mike.
Oh boy.
And he tough to really fully commit.
wonder what if you get the gold as Kataomi, do you just buy the Divine straight up? Like I know we're 67 minutes into a game now. Do you just buy it?
Nah, I can't say yes to that. I mean, if you have buyback gold, sure, because the toss back and high ground defense is huge. But if you just go in, risk it all in on that Divine, you probably have enough damage with a tree volley, to be fair. Like, that could just literally end the game. But if you do die, you give away the Rapier, you won't have buyback, you don't have that toss back for these fights. It does get a little awkward. So I'd say at least safer to buy back first.
Double Sight Device now coming up from RNG. They've got one on Chalice, they've got one on Somnus. That could make all the difference here for RNG. Catch Entity off guard with those hexes up. To get the damage off in time before those BKBs do come out from these cores. And Roshan is the main objective. All items up. In they go. Toby just doing himself with the Flame Panda. It's a slow process, but he's getting there. TB Illusion will move in as well.
Yeah, this went on for about 5 minutes in the last Roach, right? Just an Illusion in, Primal Companion in, and then just keep going. Reset.
What you're telling me is we need tier 6 items now.
You know, that'd be pretty interesting. How crazy can Dota really get? Tier 6 would be fantastic. When your games go 80 minutes and no one ever wants to win, yeah, maybe that ends the game. Still, absolutely. You know, it's not quite enough for either side to feel comfy yet. 16k lead for Entity, 19 to 25. I mean, at this point, 17k lead just doesn't matter. Everyone's got items, everyone's got farm, except maybe pause 5s. And it's all about execution. It's all about if you can catch certain heroes out, if you can get your enemy in a bad position, punish them harder, no one wants to give that over. And if you're not looking to give away openings, you're just looking to hold your ground, keep farming. Okay, very, very patient teams here.
You've got to be, John. And this is the event you've been playing for the whole year. I mean, if there's a time to be patient, it's right now. And there's that Divine Rapier. Oh, it does come out on the Tiny. Support Tiny with a Divine Rapier. You love to see it. 69.5 minutes in. You said, John, it was a risky maneuver. I say Giga Chad maneuver.
Well, he doesn't have buyback, but Kataomi's positioning has been on point. They haven't been able to really kill him off. So, yeah, free volley away.
Yeah.
As long as RNG doesn't catch him out, he is set for a really good time, because boy, oh boy, do they just melt.
Yeah, fun fact, by the way, the damage is not reflecting on the Tiny damage right now. So whatever damage you see on that Tiny, just add 350. That is not accurate.
Yeah, it's just a bit too much damage.
I'll do the math for them, John. It's basically what, like 900, 1,000 damage base on this Tiny right now?
You might, yeah. That's a good amount of damage. Now we just need to see that in action. Entity, and the moment they see that opportunity for Kataomi to just do his thing, that's where it gets wild. And again, it just goes back to this draft, right? It goes back to what we were talking about with timings in this lineup. The scaling of entities kicking in, because this Tiny was a support.
We can make it happen. Any server that makes it happen is probably us.
To be fair, I've seen my own share of mid liches.
I'll blame.
It's interesting.
Certainly is. Look at that damage from that tree volley just bursting down 2.3k. Damage, and now they make the jump in. Somnus in trouble, and they toss him, they burst him down. Just so quickly, Pure. He has the damage. Stormstormer trying to back his way up, and now it's Ghost that's in trouble. Can they surround him? Pure, he's looking for more on the backside. He's done. Karka on the Earthshaker. No forced up away this time through the Nullify, but Chalice trying to buy a bit of time, but Karka's gone. Pure going for more now. Somnus, keep in mind he has no buyback available for this fight. Where's Ghost? All by himself, still trying. Does end up getting the Terror Wave off just in the nick of time to force them back, but he's gonna find a target that actually aimed down. Toby will move in. Now with the Bloodthorn, he is copying way too much damage, but the Sunder is there in time. Ghost trying for the TP out, is gonna make it. Just barely. This game is not over yet, but it is a 4v5 situation, and they are missing their mid Leshrac.
And no buyback out in Somnus. It's still a big window for Entity. You had to expend so many resources on RNG. Refresh down from Ghost. he's gonna have to wait a lot longer for that safety net. Now Roshan opens up for Entity. There's no congestion out from RNG. All the items once again going the way of Entity. I wonder who they give the axe to at this point, because I would say just hand it over. The Pure, yes, have the Wolf Bite. Wolf Bite of Visage with Silent as the Graveyard. No, you know, just Wolf Bite your Tiny with Tree Volley.
Yeah,
that sounds
Wolf
fun.
Bite your Tiny. That's about it. Here we go.
Pretty much.
Go on, Pure, do it. He's going to wait a little bit. This is going to be a real treat to watch. I mean, we saw this last grand final of TI10. We're going to see it all over again.
Boy.
Some things never change, John.
Some things just stay the same. And RNG, and this is a toughie for them. They still have their racks intact too. That's the crazy part. Their high ground's still completely there.
Yeah.
But they haven't been able to do anything else with that one lane racks they took. They've not been able to find more
Dire's
beyond that
bottom
font
barracks are
melee.
under attack.
And Entity just worked the map a lot better. They're trying to get the second set of talents up for Somnus. He's eating all the books once more, rushing into 29 for that 20 strength. And that's going to help a little bit in durability, but we're talking about Tiny with Divine Rapier and Daedalus. I don't know if that helps by that much.
Swift Link might help there, Jonathan. Tiny's now got a Swift Link up as well. So Kataomi, up and available. Still grouped up here, Entity. Daedalus being built up on Pure, by the way. I mean, this is the point where they're just running out of slots to put items in.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of rough for them to try and decide what they really wanted this game. Resources is, I believe, the key word here, John.
Yep.
Resources.
Those slots, it's not something you can always just find more of. So
Yeah.
we've seen that be a problem for Ghost, right? Like having to juggle in the reef.
What if you could, like, say 75 minutes in, they just give you 2 extra slots?
That's really broken. That's absolutely broken.
Yeah, but you're 75 minutes into the game, John. What else are you meant to do?
That's fair. Everyone's gonna get the slots in this hypothetical scenario of yours.
Yeah, I mean, you've got backpacks. Why not have pockets? Makes sense.
I guess it could work. That would really, I mean, that would just make late game Dota even more insane.
Yeah.
To be fair, like,
we
you know,
go.
it's already hard to understand whatever's going on here.
Kataomi's a wolf right now, John. That's a very, very scary predicament if he does make the jump in with that Swift Link. Let's see how it works out for them. They're going to try and defend Hydra here. RNG, in they go. Kataomi, he's in, but the Aeon Disc is going to save X Nova. He'll be back out of there. That Ghost, he's the one to move in. They found Pure. Oh, Lycan, Pure's in trouble and he's gone. At least the first time. That's just the H, the tree volley. He's going to fly in, but Pure casually walk out as they do cyclone up the TV once again. Ghost can knock it to work, but now they found at least Fishman on the AA. Ghost forced the BKB up, but is going to be just fine to take the AA down. And they hold on to the top racks. This is quite literally defense of the... This is what defense of the Ancients is, John. They are defending.
Yeah, but we're not even at the Ancient. We're still at the racks. Like, they still hold on to the racks, and it's Entity who's at least a lane and a half behind. But they've got the 35k lead. And RNG just managed to execute in that tight area so well. Like, you saw Kataomi try to jump in on the flank, and the Aeon Disc just managed to buy enough time. He doesn't want to stay around there. It's too risky for this Tiny to take that frontline role instead of just playing with the tree volley. So even if you have that Wolf Bite, if you don't find that instant kill, he's out of there. And that just gave RNG the chance to jump in, punish Pure, chain stun off. They've got so much control in a choke point like that Somnus just really shines on that Leshrac. It's that point where it starts to really stall the game well.
You got to give a shout out to our boy X Nova as well, John. He's still on the stage by himself right now. It's 75 minutes in. The guy's just been stuck there the whole time.
Yeah, well, with his 4 teddy bear teammates, of course. Those teddy bears are playing mad at Dota right now.
Yeah.
Entity, it's so hard to say that they're behind. They're not any metric, but as long as the high ground looks better for RNG, the game looks better for RNG.
Oh, mid lane, Ghost does make a very aggressive jump in, but it's only onto the creep wave. Entity don't want to borrow this. They do back their way out. And keep in mind, you are basically one mid lane barracks away from having Megas up for RNG, but I don't really think it matters so much right now, considering we're almost 8 minutes into the game. RNG gonna move their way in. There's your tree volley. It does do quite a bit of damage onto Ghost. He's lost half his HP pool. The Ice Blast also gonna land, but they are gonna be fine to back their way out. Buyback was forced out from Fishman. That's gonna be enough for the side of RNG.
Just go back, reset, maybe. If this game keeps the pattern up, We're going to be waiting for that next rush.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I do feel like RNG's got so much more to play with. Like just having this Ags up as well on Somnus, it forced this build-up of the Revenant's Brooch up on Pure, because he needs a way to hit while Ghost Form is up on everyone. So he has to go for the Brooch. Very unorthodox, but very good counterplay for the Lesh. We'll have to see if that does play a big part there. Just feels like that Nihilism is also going to be a problem up front. 38k lead still up for Entity, 20 to 27. And next Roche, still 2 minutes 40 when we see that timer come back up. Entity, they've got Travels, 2 on Kataomi. They've really just got 4 cores. At this point, you know what?
Yeah.
Get the Ags up on Fishman. Just go for it. But we're going into that point of Dota where everyone's going to be a core.
John, I don't care about the core AA. I want you to tell me how we can get a core Lich. That's what I really want. How do we translate Xnova here into a POS 1? But never mind. Toby, Inatanger, RNG, trying to move into that mid lane. There's 2 big targets. If they can make the jump, Somnus is there with the Scythe device to get started. Bit of Malice, Ghost trying to move in with the tree volley damage. You've got to be wary, but he has the Sunder. He'll reset. Back in onto the Visage they go. Stormer is going to be able to back his way out. Now without the BKB Ghost, he's going to be so careful. It's in the backside. Chalice is gone on the Underlord. Kaka, he'll go for a Fisher to try and hold them back, but they can't control this Tiny. He's in that wolf form. In goes Pure as well. The Echo Slam, it literally does no damage.
That's a big win for Entity. They managed to force the buyback out from Challenge, take the dieback out from Kaka, and you saw RNG try to be the aggressor. They just don't have enough to eat through. Just the Brewmaster with his own save. And even then, we saw Ghost focusing in on Stormer. He doesn't have enough damage to eat through. Just how thick a Visage is at this point.
Yeah.
So Entity find the fight outside, but RNG, again, just look at these waves. Side lanes are shoved out top and bot, mid lane shoving in a bit, but your Leshrac still alive, so you can just hold it back. And Entity isn't moving bodies forward. You're just holding your ground, farming up more, waiting for next Roshan. Again, just not wanting to take that risk with here. They took a big risk in RNG jumping in. They tried to get control. Ghost just nearly melts.
Yeah. You cannot underestimate the damage from this tree volley right now, John. It's if you get the lucky crits, I think he's critting for over 2k each time.
Oh,
So it's a scary affair if he gets a few crits in a row, that's for sure. Still, no high ground attempts coming up from Entity quite yet. I mean, Kaka does now have buyback available on the Earthshaker. 30 seconds away from respawning. Like you mentioned, it's all about the next Roshan. How many Roshans have we gone through now, John?
I can't count.
You can't count.
I'm not capable of it.
So you
Fortunately,
can use your hand,
maybe
John.
Seventh or eighth Rosh.
All right.
Maybe my count's off. It probably is off around that point. RNG, I mean, again, their lineup is so good at just holding, though. And there's been no progs. You know what? If Xnova manages to hit his level 25 and goes for regen, these towers could just heal up. We could be here all night.
I forgot that existed. Yeah, plus 50 HP regen. Let's see it happen.
Yeah. I mean, you know, all the tomes have been going over to Somnus for the most part. Now I think you'd really want them. It's kind of weird to say, but really on Xnova.
Yeah.
Like, just additional HP regen on objectives at the least is nice. If not, going offensive for the Chain Frost bounces really clears out that army. Well, smoke out from RNG here, though.
In we go. Triangle they hold. Kataomi. I mean, he has a Divine Rapier. If you can find the kill, it's a pretty big one. Xnova, Aeon Disc.
That's not the target.
No, it's certainly not. Ice Blast will land. Kataomi, he'll get the Wolf Bite now and be fine to back off. In fact, he wants to go back in. Double Wolf strat here. They do move in. Somnus with the Shiver's Guard. In fact, they found Toby, but he has his own Aeon Disc, so he's going to be just fine. Meanwhile, Pure, he'll get stunned up. Through the BKB, will retreat immediately. Didn't have enough time on that BKB left to keep going. Understands he can't really handle Ghost without it. Back his way out. Speaking of Ghost, he's got a Divine Rapier locked in his backpack right now as well.
Ready. Roche respawning. This is pretty good for Entity. They have the better position here to take Roche. Another full complement of items. It's time for Fishman to have his own Ags. So you will see the Chilling Touch removed. Secondary life in. Is this enough to open up high ground for them? It surely should be.
Are you kidding? I mean, 7th Roshan, you're telling me now it's gonna work?
Yeah, it takes 7.
Okay.
It's all the way up to 7.
We don't even know if it is 7 yet, John.
I'm really not sure. I
we
can't
haven't
count.
confirmed. Right.
I really can't count. I'm just not capable. Now, but yeah, we were at the point where you do have the Acting Fishman, so he can just kind of build up into whatever he wants. You've got another core. Everyone's scaling on Entity.
Yeah.
He could buy a Divine if he wants to. That would also be really fun, but I don't think he would do that. RNG for their part. We still have this hold. They have the lanes all shoved out in a very favorable position. So Entity has to kind of take initiative here. They've got to shove out the lanes their way, get the commitment onto the high ground, and try to make it work out. I think the one issue with a high ground siege is positioning Kataomi for a good tree volley is a little bit tougher in that choke point. So finding that angle for the burst from afar is a bit of a challenge there, Mike.
It certainly is. 82.5 minutes in. Again, Divine Rapier was combined here by Ghost. Now Refresher Orb available on the Tiny as well. So you've got double tree volley. Maybe that's the... More trees are the answer, John.
It could be. Could be.
Watch your step.
And that might be enough.
Down.
Now the issue is, again, in some of these choke points towards the high ground, you will run out of trees. I'm not sure if the refresh does everything you'd want it to. I think the bigger thing might be just multiple tossbacks.
Right.
That could be it. It opens up this game. Just instantly relocate multiple heroes back. Keep controlling Ghost. Keep controlling Somnus. Open up the high ground. Still, you drop the Pit of Malice, you drop the Split Earth, you drop the Firestorm, a push just doesn't happen.
No. No, it does not. They are still going to try, though. Who have they got? It looks like Somnus on the Leshrac has been caught out, but he'll BKB up. He'll survive. As Ghost will go for the Terror Wave. Is going to be just fine. Hasn't popped the real Metamorphosis. Still has Refresh anyway. I suppose if you're Entity, surely you're just going to keep chipping away. I mean, you've got the Aegis up. You've got to keep going. And that they will.
Yeah, still, again, Pit of Malice out, Somnus.
Oh, here we go again. Ghost just blinks in right into the center of all this, dealing with the units. Stormstormers familiars are just going to melt through this, as well as the Brewlings from Toby. He'll keep sending them in, trying to get the damage out. Just a slow chip away. Back to all they got there on the bottom side. It looks like Stormstormer was caught out there for a moment by the Pit of Malice. Is going to be just fine, though, as Entity still trying to move in onto the high ground. Just can't get it done, though. Familiars are being fed back the way of RNG. And that's going to be it. Entity, they are out once again.
Yeah, they hold high ground. You Pit of Malice, Split Earth, Firestorm. What push are you really looking to get out here?
Yeah.
And does take some risk from Ghost. He has to come in, get the Terror Wave off, had to pop the refresh once more. So Entity are draining resources still, but they also drain their own. Like, they don't have familiars for a bit longer. They're going to need to finagle their way in somehow, and they're just gonna have to go back and farm. Next Roshan, 4 minutes 40 until we see that timer up.
Yep.
Age is still up for a little bit longer here. Time to chill out again.
Yeah, and for anyone in the crowd as well, by the way, if you do have work tomorrow, I highly recommend you end up calling in sick right now. This one's not ending. We're going all the way. I don't know where the end is, Sean. I don't know where all the way is, but we're going somewhere.
We're going somewhere. We're going on a journey with RNG, and they're taking us all the way to truly explore the concepts of Dota, to explore the concepts of sieging high ground. This is really just a great class to understand how to play Defense of the Ancients, how to hold that high ground. You have a lot of AoE, toss out all those spells, and eventually, Mike, we're gonna get the point where X-Nova has 25. Why is he stuck at 22? He has not moved at all.
Someone's buying all the tombs, Sean. Damn calls. They're like, oh, I'm level 27. Let me get level 28. You know, I need that extra talent.
Just get the healing, and then just heal up everything.
Never let the game end. That's what I want to see. It's exactly what we want. Bot lane. Great Wave being pushed out again. Wolves are in now. All Wolves, in fact. He'll wrap them around the mid lane instead. This is what the game's all about now. How well can you micro these units? It's not even about heroes anymore.
Just about sending something in, sending the bodies in to try and rip apart. They find the tier tree tower down bot, but they can't move in onto the rack. So you're still fairly all right here on RNG's end.
I mean, with all due respect, John, I don't think the Raxes matter anymore. I don't think the T-Force matter anymore. I think the Ancient is literally the only thing in this game that matters at this stage. Right now, for both sides, they are still well protected. Nothing's happening.
Aegis does expire on Entity. So So your backup plan on Storm is kind of gone. Time to wait for the next Roche perhaps here. And yeah, they just leave the racks alone. Can't really find a pickoff. That will force RNG to constantly look down bot, especially since you do have the shard up on Pure. He's had it for a while, so that bot lane is always just going to naturally shove in without the tower to protect. 68k lead for Entity, 20 to 29. 69k lead now. Really doesn't matter.
John, I didn't think I'd be asking you this on the PI stage. I really didn't. Have you had Merienda today? I've got to ask you one time.
No.
No?
No, I haven't. I haven't been able to have my high tea, as they call it here.
Okay.
Always loved myself a high tea, but it's been a while. I haven't been in for years.
Right.
Always good to be back. We are well past high tea as well, Mike. We're starting to approach supper.
I'm aware. That's why I asked you if you had Merienda, Jonathan. Not if you're having Merienda.
I mean, it's TI. There's no time for that. Only time for Dota. And RNG and Entity really maximizing that time here in Dota. X-Roche, minute 50, minute 40 away. Again, just lining up for that. Great pack up on Toby. A little bit more damage mitigation. It's getting really hard for RNG to pierce through. Like, they just don't have enough damage. Even with that Divine Up and Ghost, it's not like Kataomi, you know? It's not like this big, tiny, with the crits, free volleys. It's just not the same.
Gentlemen's agreement. Everyone deletes their items. 6 Divine Rapiers each. That's what I'm thinking. Top lane. Stormer. Oh, in goes Ghost. He does pop the tearaway. Gets the familiars. That's about it. He'll just respawn the familiars once again. Just slowly chipping away the base of RNG. And I've said it a few times, John, but I don't think Megas are going to matter. Like, you'll get Megas up. Literally nobody cares on RNG or Entity. They'll just keep defending. Yeah, you're way too farmed up on everyone. It's not really influenced the game state except for having to check lane, so don't. Jump in. Somnus by himself, just trying to go for those units. Does clear out the familiars and the ancient Black Dragon. So the units are gone, though Pure does pop the wolf form. In goes the tree volley, but it's off the mark. Kataomi not able to find the targets he wanted. RNG is still doing a fantastic job of defending in this game. On lane, Toby, and he gets spotted out. The Kaka, he's the one getting jumped here on the Earthshaker, but he does have the Aeon Disc. Meanwhile, from the backside, Kataomi, he's got that tree volley in X-Nova. He's going to go down, but the immediate fight back is there as Ghost now. Man's up against Pure. It's a lot of damage onto that Lycan, but he backs his way out as now the Hex is out. Ghost is in big trouble. The Ice Blast will connect, and he is gone, but he does have buyback.
They've still got the options here on RNG. Not going to immediately pop that buyback. Entity, this is their opening. They need to find something off the back of this. Start to rip into the high ground as we approach the 90-minute mark here. Onto the high ground they go.
There you go once again. Divine Rapier now combined by our TB. Dagons are out by our AA. Everyone's just buying out as much as they can. E3 tower. Siege. Somnus trying to defend by himself. Entity just understanding the buyback is available for Ghost. Do not want to throw a team fight back the way of RNG, but they are going to pop that wolf form again on Pure. Just trying to get the job done. Somnus, he'll get hexed up. There's a tree volley on Tex Nova, but he's barely going to survive the Ice Blast. Might connect, but it shouldn't be enough damage, and it won't. Entity still just focusing down the bot lane of Barracks. The Pit of Malice will lock them down, just taking down all the familiars. Somnus moving in with more stuns available. Stormer. Again, gonna back off. That is a big splitter.
It really is. And
here we go again. That's a big Fisher. They're not done yet, Entity. They're gonna keep trying. X is out. Kataomi just gonna slowly walk his way out. More stuns are just perma stunning Toby here in this bottom lane. There's nothing he can do about it. Meanwhile, mid lane, they're onto Chalice now. They've got the Underlord, but he's going to be KP available. He's going to be just fine as the gaze now X-Nova. Look at that range onto Toby. But the Aeon Disc, it's going to save the day once again as Ghost. He does move in with the Terror Wave, but it's not going to matter. They just don't have the lockdown.
No, they don't have the lockdown, but Entity can't clear out the racks or make a path for themselves onto the tier 4s. They do have Roshan up. They've got the double damage scouted out here. They've got the blessing into the Roche. Another salve. I mean, at this point, the axe that
You're gonna talk about Roshan again? You want to talk about Roshan again, John? What number is it at now?
I can't count.
You can't count.
Nah, I want to say 8 or 9, but I can't be sure. Refresh out on Toby just to ensure they take this next Roche, no problems. RNG though, smoked up, close by.
They're gonna try. They don't want to let this Roshan go down. Don't be
the cycle.
impure. Round.
Oh no, they're ending. They're ending.
Oh, they are ending. They're going for the ancient.
RNG,
Oh,
are they gonna get away with it?
They go. RNG. Can they get it done? The clip is there. They are moving back to rotate back in. This could be the play of the century as RNG. They're trying. X-Nova in big trouble. They're pure. Should drop. Meanwhile, Somnus still going. In the meantime, goes. He's handing up. He's popping his BKBs right up to the ancient. He goes. But
Oh,
then
he
he's gonna
couldn't
drop. Oh, he's
sunder.
gone.
He couldn't sunder.
Oh, he couldn't sunder. They are not going to be able to end.
Oh
What
my
in the hell am I watching?
That's what you want to see. You take the risk, you try to go in. I mean, tier 4s are down. They're playing defense of the Ancients now on Entity's end. They have to defend.
There's a Divine Rapier on the deck. Literally nobody cares, Jonathan. I mean,
Katawumi cares, I guess. He picks it up.
it's his Divine Rapier. Or do they? Back in onto Stormstormer they go. They want the Visage. They've got him down. And he's got buyback. He can rejoin the team fight if necessary. But now, no need. RNG, they'll continue defending.
They hang on. It does cost them a lot with those 2 buybacks, so options are growing limited here for RNG.
I saw a refresh.
Yeah,
Who was that?
refreshing out just to get more use out. I believe that. I want to say. I can't even tell. There's just too much going on. But what RNG needs to do now, right? Entity's got the right thought process. Just bash their heads against the wall, get Katawumi forward, siege away. RNG needs to free up the top lane. That's the only lane they've got the advantage in. Free it up and backdoor
Bot
some.
lane, Somnus, he's going to be okay. Back the turnaround now, back in onto the Tiny, but the Tiny is fine. Everyone's got a BKB. Everyone walks out of there just safe and sound. Reset, come back another day.
112K, 96 minutes in. I think that's the
112K.
longest that we've been together in one spot at the same time. And
It's only our third land, Jonathan.
that's
Jesus.
fair.
Get all sentimental on me, John. Look at me in the eyes. I was like, what's wrong with you?
I mean, we're approaching the 100 minute mark. You know, at this point, I would say it's fair. Hand in 2 more item slots at this point.
Yeah.
Make the ancient attack when it's under attack when the tier 4s are gone.
I love this game. I hope it literally never ends, John. I hope this goes on forever. This is an amazing game between
It has a very high chance of not ending. I'm still baffled that X-Nova is only level 23.
Hey! Toby just gets rid of the Axe Blessing. He just
What?
denies it all. How rude of him.
It's just there. It's littering. You know, almost everyone's upgraded except the side of RNG. They don't want to give the free axe away onto X-Nova. AoE Sinister Gaze actually would be pretty good in this game. You don't want to hand that off. Haka could make great work of jumping around with the enchant as well. And no one checked it anyway. So if you don't see the axe blessing being denied, does it really disappear?
Great question, John. Bot lane, a great question is, can Somnus survive through this one? For now, at least he can, just trying to walk his way up, but he's surrounded, and once the ethereal ends, he is down. In goes to the X-Nova, trying to chase down the lich. A nice vision though from Kaka, gonna make sure he's fine. X-Nova, still fine. Pit of Malice is out into the Chain Frost. They just want to make sure Toby can't keep chasing back Toby. Dropping so low to this Chain Frost. When does it end? It won't be enough in the end. Toby's gonna be alright.
You've got the Divine and Fishman now. With the Axe Blessing on him, and his own Divine that he
he's got
buys
double
out. There we go. This is what we were talking about. This is how you end the game. This is it. This should be it for Entity. And if somehow Fishman dies in back, which honestly isn't too hard to do, and that could help RNG hold on once more. But they really have all the tools they need. This massive Tiny, this massive AA. Or RNG, if they manage to hold on somehow, that's, I don't know what to say.
Oh, here we go. Tier 3 tower, top lane, still up, Ghost, still take care of it. With the Terror Wave just pushing back all the remnants, though Kataomi will go for a tree volley, but not be able to get any damage off onto Ghost. Toby gonna move back in, does find the tier 3 tower, so that's the tier 3 goal. Up to the racks they go. Got the mid lane to go through as well as Entity. Familiars getting the job done. Eventually, that is, though Ghost trying to slow them down the best he possibly can.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Pulse out early on.
Racks left.
Indeed, in goes the Tiny, though the Hex is out into the Fissure, and now the Chain Frost for Kataomi. He does have a BKB up, so he's going to be just fine. Back his way up. On to the top racks they go. They do get Pit of Malice up, just everyone being rooted here by Chalice. Ice Blast is going to fly through onto Ghost, but there's going to be no follow-up. They just want the Megas. Onto Pure, though. He does get caught on the left side. The Screen Brush is there by Somnus, but it leads to nothing. Is now Kataomi. He does move in onto Toby, onto that Brewmaster. Can they take him down? Not quite. Aeon Disc is there once again, though. Toby, he is dropping low now. He might just drop and does, but he's got buyback. And I know Mega Creeps are up. It literally means nothing.
No. It does make it easier for Entity to kind of pressure into the high ground. It will leave RNG stuck in their high ground as well, but they've been stuck there for a very long time. What it does do is take away the potential for RNG to try to go for that cheeky Ancient play.
That's fair.
Like, they are not going to be able to shove out lane safely anymore and make their way onto the Ancient to try to force the end. They haven't been able to repeat it. They tried it last time, didn't quite pay off. So we're crossing the barrier here, Mike. 100-minute game.
Yeah.
It's RNG clinging on. 127k deficit, making Entity work for every single game they get on this map.
Welcome to TI, Jonathan. Welcome to TI 11. What a game it's been so far in this best of one. Elimination Dota, nothing's more entertaining than that. RNG not out of this game yet. Still pushing out the mid lane, and I suppose you did make a fair point, John. It's going to be hard to rat the base now if you are RNG. The wave isn't that just going to keep pushing in over and over again. Luckily for them, they've been dealing with this for roughly 101 minutes now, so they should be pretty used to it on the side of RNG. They are going to move in through the mid lane, see if they can try to force a fight against these Mega Creeps. Rather against the side of Entity with the Megas, and in they go. Ice Blast is there. Chalice gonna be targeted. Here comes the Chilling Touch. It's a lot of damage for Chalice. He does have the Crimson Guard to protect his out. They move in onto Somnus, but the Terror Wave goes to Zan. Onto Kataomi, who'll try to focus him down, but the Wolf Form allows him to get away, as it seems like they need to try and reset. RNG, it's not the fight they wanted. They just can't lock them down long enough. In goes Pure though, onto X-Nova. The Fisher was not there in time to block him off. X-Nova still actually being left alone here by Pure. Instead he sees Chalice on the Underlord. He'll Abyssal Blade him up. Chalice in huge trouble, should drop surely. Eventually, as he is surrounded and will go down. No buyback available on the Underlord. X-Nova, he's gonna go down to the Ice Blast of Fishman. We'll buy back immediately. Chalice, he needs another minute to be able to buy back into this game.
Guess what?
Roshan's up.
Yeah, with a double damage rune as well. On to the next Rosh. Entity goes. And RNG, I mean, their backs. Their backs have been 9 to 10 times now.
It literally says 8.
Okay, I'm just very
You can't read either.
I can't read either. 8 Roshan melting. Probably just deny the Axe Blessing once more. Smoke out, and Entity look to make this game end. 102 minutes in, RNG. I mean, they've been holding for such a long time. They've been able to just play their hearts out, but it's so tough with how well Entity's scaling. Even just the damage from Fishman, it's no joke.
No, it certainly is not. See the Axe Blessing getting denied off once again there by Toby. It's not like them being left alone. 60 seconds without Chalice, but buyback up in 3 seconds. It's not really too big of an issue here for RNG. They are up against the Aegis, they're up against the Cheese, they're up against the Refresher Shards. It's not that easy as Chalice immediately, no hesitation, will pop buyback. Not messing around, doesn't want to lose these tier 4 towers. Creeps are pushing in. Entity again, I mean, they've been patient for 2 hours now. They may as well keep being a little bit more patient. As Kataomi will form in there. Double damage rune. Avalanche toss back. They've got a big target on Chalice. They've loved a dieback right now. Ghost, he's going to try and jump in and save the day. Refresh is out. Terror Wave is out as well. Toby, he's the one to drop. No buyback available. That was a dieback on the Brewmaster. May find more. It seems like for now they're going to hold because the creeps are moving into the base. Turns out the Mega Creeps are in fact doing something, Jonathan. Yeah. Very, very pop.
It makes it so hard for RNG to try to get anything done outside. They do manage to hold on though. Again, Entity with 129k. It's not enough. RNG still has bite in them. RNG still has a way of playing. They have a way of holding. They do have 25 up on X-Nova. He does opt for the Chain Frost now, and there's not much to really defend with the regen on the Frost Shield. But they've got a good way of just holding back. And if they manage to keep at least one wave shoved in, I mean, they don't have tier 4s to rip through here, Mike. Yeah. The Ancient is exposed.
It certainly is.
So they just need to keep that creep wave alive somehow.
It certainly is. And they've got the Fiend's Gate available if they want to try and abuse it. Arkan, going for a Fisher, gonna miss. Somnus, he's right in as well. In fact, it's Ghost that we need to watch right now on this TBs. They've got the AA down. That's 2 Divines in the deck. Is this the turning point now? Because they found another. It's gonna be the Aegis down on the Visage. He'll respawn very, very soon. Toby, he's still got no buyback. They're back onto Stormstormer. They might just have him, and it seems like they do. He is gonna drop, but he does have buyback.
This is just
They're still going. Fishman, he's gonna drop a second time, but Pure, he's gonna be right to back his way out as Kataomi now getting caught out on the Tiny. He might drop to boot, and he does. Pure, he does move back in. Chalice is gonna drop. That's 2 down with that buyback for the side of RNG. How do they do it now?
Well, I mean, their tier 4s are going to be under siege. Someone's got to go back and hold. None of their creep waves are shoved out. It's back to just having these mega creeps up, and we are now in the longest main stage game in TI history. This is as far as it goes. We're just going further now.
In literally all of TI history, this is the longest game.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
On the main stage. This is just a marathon from both sides. RNG, again, they're still there. They managed that gold swing from 123k to 84k. I mean, that's the biggest gold swing I think we've ever seen. Multiple Divines being dropped. They're rushing level 30 talent up on Ghost now for the Sunder cooldown. And despite that win, because of the mega creeps, RNG are still stuck here. So they're gonna need to repeat that process again, Mike.
Here we
they
go.
need to knock him out one more
They're gonna
time.
get started.
They're gonna win.
They've got goes for the toss back. The TB Abyssal Blade is out. He's gonna go down. He's got buyback. He'll commit immediately. It's gonna be a 4v3 situation. RNG are in trouble as Somnus dropping low. Pops the Bloodstone. Tries to rob it. It's not gonna make it out. He'll buy back as well. This could be the opening though. Entity needed. They can go onto those G4 towers. They've got the mid creeps incoming. He's gonna find a way to fight. Kaka, he's in with the Echo Slam. And the Fisher locks them down. Tearaway Villain with the Wolf form. It allows them to just keep running. It's Kanaomi still trying to fight back. Stormer, Tree Volley, everything through to Ghost, but it's gonna be enough. The dieback is there. RNG are in huge trouble now. It's a 2v4 situation. Surely there is no way to defend this. The Somnus will try one last time, but it's over. Or is it? They paused the game at a very awkward time. Fisher's out. It's all over. The Mid-Crips around the Ancient. GG is caught eventually. Entity barely managed to do it. 107 minutes in. I don't know what else to say here, John.
Oh, that's just insane. I don't think the longest game in the main stage ever. And my God, Entity, what an amazing game they played. But props to RNG as well. They held on when it just looked like they weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
I mean, they hung on for so long.
Look at their
and
face.
Entity, I mean, yeah, it just took way too long. But they do manage to ride on, and the crowd's loving it. What a game between these